Welcome back everyone to the State of the Nation. Soon you might see an increase in your electricity bills as the government is being pushed by the IMF to do so. The government is under pressure to increase electricity prices since the IMF unlocked the next tranche of $344 million contingent on the restoration of cost recovery pricing for electricity. The very reason this government's continuation with the same IMF plan resulted in public dismay, which was evident from the election results, which we just received in the local government election. Now, on the other hand, the looming Trump tariffs on Sri Lankan exports, according to top exporters there, U.S. buyers are awaiting more clarity on the 44% Trump tariff before taking any decision to shift out of Sri Lanka, though there is pressure to cut prices after a reduced 10% tax went into effect. Well, what's going to happen is when the Trump tariffs comes into play, lots of US buyers would not buy things from Sri Lanka. This is going to impact mostly the apparel sector. And if that happens, then what is going to happen to our economy? That's a big question that needs to be sorted out right now. Joining us now to comment on both those issues is the Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Harshana Sooriyapperuma. Thank you very much, Minister, for your time. There is a lot of pushback from the general populace and the opposition in regards to your government's continuation of the previously implemented IMF plan. Now, for example, the IMF is requesting the electricity tariffs to be increased despite your government promising it will be kept low. And it's looking like you may have to cave in and give in to what the IMF wants. This is a significant diversion from your campaign promise. How do you respond?
Yes, Mahieash. I think the interesting element is to note that during the election campaign itself, we mentioned we will not deviate from the IMF program. The government kept that promise because, as I said, stability is important. Certain choices were made in the past. Whether it was right or wrong, it's a different situation, different debate over there. But as a country, we have made a decision. And prior to the campaign, as I said, prior to the presidential election itself, we mentioned very openly, we will continue we will not derail from the IMF program. Having said that, we mentioned to them that we will negotiate to get benefits to people. I'll give some example where we kept that promise, delivered that promise to people as well. You mentioned about the electricity bill. Electricity bill was reduced in January by a significant percentage. That is to ensure, in one angle, our industries will get a better rate so they can maintain their competitive advantage when they are trying to move overseas, export to other countries, while competing with the countries in the region who are having much lower electricity tariffs than that of Sri Lanka. Not only that, we provided relief to people, which we promised in our campaign also. Several people, vulnerable groups, were affected during the economic calamity and they could not come out. Even as of now, the poverty levels in the country is not in a place where we can be happy at all. Several people were struggling, living below poverty lines. So we increased benefits that's provided to them. Most important parts, the school benefits to school children. They are the future of this nation. So there were a lot of relief provided. Farmers were taken care of by increasing the subsidy, the fertilizer subsidy made available to them. Fishermen, the community who's out there for fishing were supported with their activities by giving a fuel allowance, likewise several engagements. And you asked the question relating to the electricity tariff aspect. The IMF program is requiring certain measures to be followed, but as a country also, we need to understand that the cost recovery measures to be implemented by this type of institutions who engage in commercial related activities as well. So we believe the country will continue on these engagements. We need to have a long-term plan to reduce the country's electricity cost by investing in the right infrastructure.
Minister Trump, tariffs are obviously going to hit hard for our exports, which means there should be some kind of pushback from our end as well. Announcements were made earlier on from your government to hold discussions, and you claimed it was successful. What was the success and how is it helping our country to come out of these tariffs?
Yes, Mahieash. This is a global situation. It is not a case against Sri Lanka by one country. It is not the case. It is affecting almost all the countries in the world, whether it's a developed nation or whether it's a developing nation, irrespective, it is affecting all. It is a decision made by the US government based on the trade deficit situation that they were experiencing all this time. Sri Lanka was one of the countries that we were able to reach out to the US government with a positive response, proactively, and an actionable approach where we can give them some indication of the seriousness and willingness of Sri Lanka to engage with discussions. Why? Because nearly 25% of our exports are to US, predominantly from the apparel sector, and as well as our rubber sector is significant on that area. There are many other supplies, exports to US as well. So from the level of the president himself, he wrote to the President Trump and indicated our approach and the willingness to engage in the process. Sri Lanka was one of the first countries to reach out to them. Subsequently, we had multiple written correspondence with the USTR, the Trade Representative's Office. We had several virtual discussions. Based on the success of the program, they invited us to come in person, meet them and have another discussion to take the conversation to the next level. We have completed that one also successfully. This gave us a very good opportunity to understand, going beyond the general taglines out there, what are their needs, what are their expectations, what are the challenges, and we were able to explain to them as well our situation, the unique position Sri Lanka is in. We are within an IMF program. So it is not necessarily by choice we are stuck with some of the parameters and the challenges that we explain, because we are within the IMF program as a country to which we have committed as of now. So based on those lines, the discussions are ongoing. The cabinet has approved for us to move ahead with the next level of discussions as well. So we believe we are on the right path. We can see one country has already announced the successful approach in terms of engaging into a agreement. So there are some precedents as of now as well what is out there, but as I said, Sri Lanka is in a unique position. Our objective is to secure the best benefit for Sri Lanka given the challenging global platform and global situations as well. To ensure there was a competitive advantage that Sri Lankan exporters were enjoying prior to that, we want to continue with that one. So we believe Sri Lanka has done very well in that regard, and we are very hopeful we will get a good outcome.
Well, we have to just wait and see. Let's leave it at that. That was the Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Harshana Sooriyapperuma. Thank you very much for your time, sir.